Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So there'll be something from the week when it was recorded, some games, movies and TV, and maybe some other stuff. If you're watching us on YouTube, thanks. If you're subscribing on YouTube, bigger thanks. Subscribing helps the channel, helps us, and ultimately that helps you. So, it's a win-win for everybody. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Oh, right then. Man. What a time to be alive, eh? A terrible, awful time to be alive, but still, what a time to be alive. Yeah. Sorry. Sorting my hair out. A job that could have been done before I pressed record, so you guys can thank me later, I'm sure. Really weird list this week. And when I say really weird, I mean basically there's nothing on it. Entertainment wise, there's nothing really on it. As for stuff, there is stuff. It's yet again, it's late. I feel very stressed. It's late, I've still got stuff to do. Like jobs, I've still got jobs to do, and it's already late. By the time I finish doing this, it'll be even later. Still got jobs to do, even later. Might go to bed at some point. Yeah. So, it's been a funny old week. Obviously that's the point in time where I remembered something that's not on the list. Make a little note. So there was a birthday. My eldest had a birthday. So we were celebrating like Thursday and Friday last week. Thursday was mostly just like, presents. So there was that. Cakes and things. You know how it goes. Birthday, innit? Balloons. Friday went to... we've got an indoor mini golf. I'm trying to think what it was called. We've got an indoor mini golf type placed. Oh, I knew that one was good. Oh, excuse me. Thought it'd be cool. Thought it'd be cool to do like a birthday type thing. So booked a little while ago to go there. Wasn't overly sure how it would work with like the lockdown tiers. But luckily still open, the booking still stood, we went. Had a bit of trouble getting there, traffic was insane, no known reason. So yeah, and we got there. I think it was as we were going through the door, saw a little kid. Like it's next door to a bowling place, and they're like joined. So I saw this kid going from like the golf place to the bowling place, and he was carrying tickets. And I was like, what is the situation here? And all I could think was like arcade machines that give you tickets. And I've only ever really had the experience of arcade machines that give tickets in America. But made a mental note of it, and that was that. Went upstairs, stood queuing to go in, and there was a lot of arcade machines, and you look and it's like, could be a thing. So we got in, we're booked in, and they explained how things work. You've got to wear your mask. There was 3 different courses, each was 9 holes. Put your scores in, blah 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 blah. So we walked down. Got the middle daughter to pick which course we were going to do, and that was that. It looks like one of the courses looked super elaborate. I feel we picked what could be considered to be like a beginner's course, which was good. They'd never played before, certainly not like that sort of style. So away we went. In hindsight, there's probably an age, not limit, not restriction, but past a certain age, and I mean below a certain age, the difficulty is probably quite high. Swinging a club, hitting a ball, so on and so forth. My eldest is of an age where I would have thought it would be relatively easy for her, and admittedly she could just about do it. There was a couple of times I was like, turn the club round. But that's one of those. If you don't know, you don't know, do you? If you haven't ever played golf or a variety, you don't know which way round the head of the putter goes. So things like that. And there was times where it's like, right, you're going to have to really whack this, and obviously the coordination involved to get a really good hit. Things like that. But she managed it. I'd helped the middle daughter with her swings and shots and stuff, but with that we managed to get round. So all in all, not too bad. The middle daughter, not overly understanding many of the parts of it, but I think she enjoyed it. We had a good time, and what made it the best for everybody was that I won. Honestly, that surprised me a lot, because I didn't win a lot of the holes. I did a sneaky thing on one of the holes. It wanted you to go through a rock and go round another rock and all this, that and the other. But I saw that the course was also laid out in a certain way that if you just went round all the rocks and hit the ball into the corner, it would bring you right round next to the hole. I was like, bet this can be done in 2 shots. So stuff like that. And there's these things that you can press to get more points on certain holes and stuff like that. So we did the golf, and it was good, and it was good fun. And I believe everyone enjoyed it. It certainly sounded like it. We had X amount of time there, so I was like, let's check out the arcade system. Various different things. They've got the mini basketball where you shoot. They've got mini bowling. Throw balls at clowns. The thing that was like a test your strength, but it turned out that it wasn't a test your strength. It required finesse. but gave you no information, so it was a bit of an odd one. These like giant pianos, you had to like play a piano type game. They had Mario Kart, but you actually drove the car rather than using like a controller or something. Air hockey and all sorts of stuff. But a lot of the machines gave you tickets for certain things, like a higher score, getting like throwing balls at these clown things, get so many downs, depending how many points you got, depending how many tickets you got, and so on and so forth. Well, that was it. The moment I realised that there was like an incentive involved, you know, winning tickets and stuff, I'm like, right, we've got to do this. And you know, it's one of them, innit? You look at, right, I'll get 10 quid in change, and you know, there's a part of me and, you know, other people I'm sure that would be like, £10? It's a lot of money. But honestly, you know, you can buy 2 cups of coffee for a tenner at this point in time. So, you know, here's £1 for you and £1 for you. Or, you know, some of the change came in 10p's, and they were like the 10p machines. I can't think what they're called, where you put them in and the money falls through. Makes a big pile of money. I mean, at the beach they're called 2p machines, but these were 10p machines. It was a richer thing. Even they gave you tickets. So, yeah. We had £10 worth of fun, but really by that point we started getting into the groove of it, and our £10 was gone. So I was like, you know what, I'm prepared to spend another £10 to have more fun, because it was fun. It was fun. So we did that, totted up all our tickets, and for my £20 investment, managed to get 2 slinkies. My point here is, though, what is the value of fun? Like I was saying, £20, is that really a lot of money when you're talking about having fun? I ummed and ahed the other day about buying a book. It was £4.80, I think, and it took me 2 days to actually get up the courage to buy that book. It was by one of my favourite authors, and it was the new book in a series, and I'm like, I mean, can I justify the £4.80? Spent £20 in the arcade in, I don't know, an hour or something. Can you put a price on fun, though? That's my question. I don't know if you can. It was a lot of fun. Got a lot of enjoyment. Happy children. There is no value you can put on happiness for your children. So, money I was happy to part with. I was a little miffed the next day when the baby had managed to tangle one of the slinkies. Like, the freaking thing cost me 10 quid. However, flip side, super impressed when I managed to untangle it. So, you know, it ain't my first rodeo though, is it? If you think that's the first slinky I've untangled, think again, my friend. So those were those things. Went after the farming museum for a Halloween thing. Next day we did Halloween, because that's the event that we've had in the last week. Other than birthdays, it was Halloween. We went super overboard on the Halloween. Real mixed bag. I have this belief that people put so much into Christmas, and what I mean, so much onto Christmas, not into it, so much onto Christmas. And what I mean by that is, the moment the children go back in September, that's all some people focus on. It's Christmas now. It isn't. I remember a time when September was still summer. Like full-blown summer. So, if you've got your sunglasses and your shorts on, it's not time to have a conversation about Christmas. Believe me. And that, I think, is because people haven't got enough in their lives. Enough to look forward to, enough to be excited about, enough to enjoy, enough to whatever. And that's because we don't make a bigger deal about the other things. You've got 2 events between September and Christmas. Halloween, bonfire night. Make Halloween a bigger deal. Make bonfire night a bigger deal. More stuff to look forward to. Then Christmas isn't that much of a big deal. Anywho. So we went hard on Halloween. Got loads of decorations. Got loads of props. Loads of ideas for games. Loads of like prizes and chocolates and all of that. We did the lot. Everybody had... Well, no, that's not true. All the children had costumes. I'd considered a costume. But, you know, you're in some kind of lockdown situation. Does anybody really care what my costume is? So, we had a bit of a problem with the fact that my eldest was like, yeah, let's do Halloween. I'm all in on this. Obviously, the youngest loves putting a costume on. Absolutely loves wearing a costume. Dressed up as a cat. Not her first rodeo. She loves dressing up as a cat. Middle child, literally, it's like, don't want anything to do with this. Everything's scary. Everything's terrifying. Everything's going to get me. Everything's going to eat me. I'm just going to be scared from the minute I get out of bed. And I was like, I sat down and I had a conversation with her. I said to her, there's going to be nothing scary. We made sure of that. There's going to be nothing but fun. It's just going to be fun from the minute you step out of bed to the minute you go to bed. But she was having none of it. So, and it's hard to negotiate. It's hard to deal with when you've got one child who's like desperately trying to have fun, and another child that's desperately trying not to. I guess it's hard. First activity, apple bobbing. Honestly, you know when you think, oh, let's do that because I remember that as a thing, you know, we did as kids. I remember hating it. I remember hating bobbing for apples. And you know something? I did it the other day, and in what's probably 30 years, my opinion of that game has not changed. Hate it. It's nothing to do with everyone, and I do mean everyone else being better than me. I couldn't get my face to work properly. There was some kind of brain face barrier. I couldn't get my face to work to do what I needed to do to get the apples. Oh, one apple. That was because it had a long stalk on it. We did all sorts. There was a Halloween scavenger hunt. You know, find so many skeleton hands and find a skull and a gravestone and broomstick witch's hat. All that. That was really good. There was decorations like spiders, cobwebs everywhere, and scary masks that, you know, aren't scary, I suppose. There was a treasure hunt, which is different to a scavenger hunt. There was pin the smiley face on the pumpkin. Halloween quiz. What's in the box? Not like 7 though. What's in the box? What's in the box? Not that, no. Where you have like something that's supposed to be, feel the witch's hair, feel this, feel that. It's just bowls of food essentially. We had a movie. Wanted to do like a children's Halloween movie, and we were like, Addams Family. That is absolutely gotta be Halloween movie. But couldn't get the agreement on that one. So went with a different film, which I'll come to. So yeah, Halloween. I was about to say Halloween. It's a big thing for all you parents out there. Halloween, bit of a mixed bag, but I would say, in general, like there were times like when the middle child was scared, and it's like managed to sort of bring her around a bit, and there was points where she didn't want to do stuff, and it's like, well, and then managed to get her to, like for the scavenger hunt, she had no interest in the scavenger hunt. But it's like, give her the list and the pen, get her to tick stuff off straight away, interested. So it's yeah, it was all right, I thought. Now, I've mentioned it a couple of times, and I'm just going to mention a little bit about it. You know me, don't like to dwell. Was announced at the weekend that yes, indeed, we are going back into a countrywide lockdown for 4 weeks, and then that quickly turned to 4 weeks as a minimum. But then apparently we've now gone back to, it's definitely only going to be 4 weeks. Obviously, we're not closing the one thing that is making the numbers go up, so I'm sure this one's going to go well. I get the distinct impression that this lockdown isn't going to be like the last one. And by that I don't mean all the people who have announced on Facebook that this is the lockdown that they're going to get fit on. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I think this is the one where people are going to be like, I know he's saying it's a lockdown, but it doesn't really apply to me, does it? That's the kind of thing I think is going to be happening in this one. I saw a thing the other day about people saying, this is so that we can enjoy Christmas, and then people criticising, saying it shouldn't be about so we can enjoy Christmas, it should be about so we can get back to normal. So yeah, there's a lot of mixed opinions. I don't think I should share my opinion. Yeah, let's leave that one there and move on, shall we? So I've got this weird thing at the moment. For my eldest really loves a treasure hunt, and asks for one for her birthday. Can you do me a treasure hunt to find my present? And the older she gets, the harder she wants it to be, but not too hard. And every now and then I get one clue just way off. And I tried to hit a right level, and like I say, 1 out of like 16 clues I don't think is too bad. And she never has to be told them. She does get there in the end. But on the day in question, in the morning, I went for a big run. By the time came to doing the treasure hunt, scavenger hunt, whatever you want to call it, my sciatica was having a field day. And there was a point where the clue she was on meant that she had to go upstairs. So she went upstairs. And I was walking up the stairs and I was like, Jesus. And I said at one point, I was like, I tell you this much, I hope we don't have to go up and down stairs too many times today, because I am struggling. And the thing I noticed, and this is obviously an age thing and, you know, a weight thing, but definitely more an age thing. Pain. Honestly, like, from the waist down, like right now, my left shin hurts. There you go. Somebody want to, you know, chime in on this one? Give me a reason. I've got some kind of like Achilles thing going on, that in my right foot there are certain positions, certain like I was trying to tie a shoe the other day, and more often than not I'll sit down to tie a shoe. That wasn't an option the other day, so I was bending down to tie a shoe. Agony. Absolute agony in the old Achilles. Today, pain above the knees. Not painful knees, pain above the knees. The sciatica is just beyond anything. So here's the thing. I'm in pain, like, certainly lower half of the body, there's a lot of pain going on a lot of the time. Feet hurt. Knees. You know, it's everything. Not all at the same time, because that would be crazy and unbearable. Random things at random points in time. Non-stop. When I go for a run, I don't have any of it. To me, I would have thought that would have been the time for things to hurt. But I set off for a run and I'm like, don't hurt. I mean, I should probably, you know, touch wood, because that would make running even more unbearable. Speaking of running, I've had a few long runs now. Double-edged sword, obviously, you know, completed them, no stopping, big thumbs up and all that sort of jazz. But, and I had this conversation the other day, the thing about doing something like that, you know, you do it and you don't stop and you're like, that's an achievement, big thumbs up, well done me. Straight away, it's kind of, you know, you view it and other people view it as, you're going to have to go further now, aren't you? If you were able to do it, if you managed to do it, you're going to have to go further. And already I'm like, I mean, you know, do I need to go further? I don't know where I would go. Actually, I had a thought this morning. I didn't want to go a particular way for a run. And I had a thought about going to a completely different area and running that area. But then I wasn't sure how far it would have been. Would have involved a big hill as well. Probably wasn't meant to be. I'm sure it'll be fine. So, Monday today. You know what happens on a Monday, don't you? This guy gets weighed. Had a bit of a weird. The last week has been a weird one. Food wise, last week I'd basically given up eating. Like there were days where I'm like, right, I'm gonna get back from my run, I'm gonna have have a shower and then have some breakfast, and then I'd check like get like logged on for work and stuff and be like, oh, I've got a meeting first thing, I've got a training session first thing. It's alright though, because it's only for an hour and a half. Then I'm straight into a meeting, so on and so forth. So I was missing breakfast left, right and centre. But then there was points where I was like, oh, I've missed breakfast and lunch, so I'll have my tea. Then there was a couple of days where I was like, I didn't have breakfast or lunch, and it's 10:30, so I'm probably not going to eat any tea. So that was the majority of the week. Very stressful time. What stress? What going on? Food wasn't a top priority. Get to the back end of the week, and all of a sudden there's this mad panic. Like, my body's like, oh no, next week is going to be super stressful, and I know what you're like. You're probably not going to be eating stuff, so I need to get a big feed now. AFP. So suddenly I'm like, let's eat everything. So I was eating the naughty foods. Sure, there was some bread in there. Yeah, I think there was some bread. Might have even been some crisps. Jeez, can you believe it? So it's Monday. I'm like, does one offset the other? Not eating versus eating loads and some of it's bad. What's the deal here, people? Let's find out. About to get in the shower. Been for my room. Get the scales, and I'm like, I just don't know. I don't know how to gauge this one. So my scales are electric, and what they do is you step on, and they and ah for a good few seconds before they give you an answer. They're like, maybe you've lost weight, but maybe you're still fat. Let's find out, shall we? That's what the scales say. Every now and then, the scale's like, you weigh this much. Like, instantly it tells you. Now, before going and getting weighed, this isn't something I often do. Before going and getting weighed, I check to see what I weighed last Monday. So I looked and I was like, oh, that's actually lower than I thought. This probably isn't going to be good. So I was worried, and I was like, let's look at it this way. The two offset each other, so if we've lost no weight but haven't put any on, let's call that a win. So that was the agreement. Stepped on the scales and it instantly gave me the answer. Rather than umming and ahhing and dicking around, it instantly gave me an answer. And that answer was that I lost 4 pounds. It's like, obviously, as I'm sure you can imagine, very happy, and I'm sure you can imagine, I've now given up eating for life. Clearly the only way. It's the future. Not eating is definitely the future. What it does mean is I'm 2 pounds away from a stone. Not lost, but like the next stone. Obviously, you can guess my objective this week. Get those 2 pounds. Anybody want to guess what I had for breakfast today? So, that's kind of the week in a nutshell. I've got 4 movies on my list. 3 of the 4 I've seen before, so I'm not going to dwell on. The 4th one I'd never seen before, and I watched it. We'll talk about it. Pardon me. Pardon me, you. Pardon you, me. So the Halloween movie ended up being The Wizard of Oz. I rented The Wizard of Oz. I've seen it before. Will admit this though. years ago, and I mean, I was a child the last time I saw The Wizard of Oz. It's just not up there on my list of sit down and watch a movie. I know what I'll watch. Wizard of Oz. I've got to be honest on this one. It's not going to be top of my list. But with having like children, with having like a child, if not children, who has an interest in the movies, in the films, as did I, get the opportunity to see these things through their eyes. And there's been these conversations about The Wizard of Oz, and there have been these conversations about how similar in a lot of ways to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, similar in a lot of ways to the other film that I said it was very much similar to, that I can't remember the name of right now, which is going to be annoying because now it doesn't make sense. What's that other film she likes? It'll come to me. Maybe just not on this podcast, and that'll really annoy you guys as well. And it's, the songs and colour, and it's just that sort of style that it was kind of like, yeah, definitely her sort of thing. Tell you this much, having not seen it for a long time, I obviously watched it with different eyes. Proper amazing film. Really amazing, because each of the scenes in that film is done on like a set piece. So they'll have had to like make each individual set for each individual part of that film. And some of the bits are amazing. Like there's the fact that like all of the backdrops are painted, like they're huge paintings to signify that people are going off into the distance and stuff. And I was just very much in awe of the way that film was made. And I think, like these films have these sort of effects for her, on her, I don't. So, for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the effect for her was that she read the book, or had the book read to her and thoroughly enjoyed the book. And then the opportunity to see it transferred to film, there was a proper wow factor there for her. And as I said at the time, I thoroughly enjoyed watching her watch it. And I don't know if I need to say spoilers on this one, but obviously there's a bit where it goes from her being in Kansas to being in Oz, and the bit where she opens the door and it goes from black and white to being in colour. And I sort of said to her, I was like, there's movie magic for her. And again, as a concept, that concept is amazing. And obviously the colour that is in that film is so vibrant. To go from black and white to that level of colour is so striking. Truly amazing. So, I feel I watched The Wizard of Oz with different eyes this time and got a different sort of enjoyment from it. There was a question about whether we would watch like the remake of it. James Franco. I think it was. Is it a Sam Raimi film? Bruce Campbell's in it. Don't want to look it up. Now I do want to look it up though, don't I? To keep me occupied, I watched both the the Sherlock Holmes films. Films that I've previously enjoyed, I definitely saw one, if not both of them, at the cinema. I remember going to the cinema to see one of them. I don't remember which one. I think it was the second. On Boxing Day one year. There was a point in my life where I was like, I go to the cinema on Boxing Day. I always think that Boxing Day was boring, so I wanted something to fill the time. And the cinema was open. There was a time in my life where I lived round the corner from the cinema. So, I remember seeing it at the cinema. Then I was thinking about it today and I couldn't piece it together. As a memory, I couldn't quite piece it together. The first one, I watched it again. Haven't seen it for a long time. It's a film I've seen a few times. Again, another Guy Ritchie movie. That's, not... I think I said last week, was it? It's a Guy Ritchie film, but not a Guy Ritchie film. The first one is very enjoyable. Watched it again, was like, something. That right there is an enjoyable little film. Some of the things that I think stand out, and this might be a bit of a divide. How recently I've been talking about how you get British actors playing Americans, and the whole thing is, why don't you just get an American to play an American? Because, the accent is usually what lets the process down. I think I have to commend Robert Downey Jr. on his... Because you want to say British accent, but I think the way they've got round it very cleverly is they've given him a... How do I say it? It's like a posh British accent, but because of the way that it's posh and the way that he speaks, it then goes very well about hiding the fact that he's not British. So I think that's very well done. The first film, very well done. It's all pieced together very nicely. Watch the second one, and I remember having seen the second one originally, having seen it again, and then watching it today. I was like, the second one is just, it's just incomprehensible. I think that it feels very much like, because they had a success with the first one, they felt that they had to follow it up quite nicely. But it feels like they didn't know how. There's this whole thing that is like another woman in it that's different to the one, because all of that. And the whole time I'm like, what exactly is her role in this film? There was something about, a brother. And again, there was a lot of, what exactly is the point to this? Ultimately, part of that story is very simple. A guy wants to have a monopoly over certain things. It's like, well, that makes a lot of sense. It's just the way they go about some of the stuff. It's like, yeah. So as a something to watch, perfectly fine, perfectly enjoyable. Something to understand, yeah, maybe not. So I watched a film that I've not seen before, but I've had on a list for a while. I watched a film called Gold. Matthew McConaughey. I'm enjoying Matthew McConaughey stuff at the moment. Obviously there was The Gentleman, which he was in. I feel like I've seen something else with him in recently. I always enjoy the parts he plays. So this was an option of something to watch. I put it on a list. been there a little while. I was like, come on, let's get this watched. So then I went to go back and check, because it feels like based on a true story, but I don't think it was. And I don't think at any point in time did it say that it was based on a true story, which would lead me to think that maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just a story. I'm just looking, because I don't want to tell you wrong, but at the same time I'm not sure where I would find the information. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I don't think it's a true story. I don't think it's based on a true story. I think it's just a film, which is fine. Basic premise being Matthew McConaughey is a guy who works for I think his father owns the company. Yeah, his father owns the company, and it's like what prospecting turned into. It's like companies, and they find places to dig, and they go and they dig, and they find metals, materials, things like that, things that people need out of the ground. They get backing for these digs. Obviously, once they dig up whatever metal it is, whatever, precious stones or whatever, then obviously there's money to be made. Fast forward X number of years, the dad dies, he inherits the company, the market takes a turn, and they're not in an office anymore, they're working out of a bar. And he gets involved with this geologist who believes that he can find gold in Indonesia. And basically it goes from there, and the story is that they go through the finding of the gold. No luck, money's running out, they find ways to make the money work, and then they strike gold, and there's this, they find the evidence that there's a lot of gold in them there hills. And then it kind of takes a turn, so it's like a big business thing, like the big business guy wants to screw the little guy out of the little guy's claim on the business, and succeeds, but then the little guy fights back, and I was like, is it a rags to rags film? And in some ways, yes. But then, was it a rags to riches to rags to riches story? In some ways, yes. But there was another element, and I was trying to work out, and I get criticised for this, not living in the moment, not enjoying the film, just trying to work out what the twist is. But I was very much like, well, what are we doing here? And then it dawned on me, and I was like, oh, I see. Very enjoyable film. I really did enjoy it. Matthew McConaughey's portrayal. He's put on a lot of weight. He's bald and he's got messed up teeth. And yeah, leans into a lot of that side of the character. Alcoholic, smokes constantly. All I could think was, can you imagine as an actor playing a role where you've got to smoke that much? Like, he smoked non-stop. Jeez. So very enjoyable. Film I really enjoyed. Yeah, I would heartily recommend that film. Available on Prime right now. So if you've got Prime, no excuse not to watch it, because it's free. Chicken dinners all round in it. Computer games. One of those things, along with eating, computer games have gone a little bit out the window this week. Just haven't been able to find the motivation to be able to turn the... I'm leaning towards the Xbox at the moment for various reasons. Just not being able to find the motivation to turn the Xbox on. Sometimes that's because it's 11 o'clock at night and I can't be bothered to sit there and wait for it to boot up and load a game and get into a game when I know I'm going to have to turn it off not long after that. Sometimes I've just not had the inclination to play anything. But what I can say is this: I bit the bullet and I finally finished Gears of War 4. What I will say there is I had made the decision to not play it anymore. However, I did go back to it, and I was right. It turned out I was basically right at the end. A couple of bits at the back end of the game that made it a bit more bearable. Some big robots. However, I do largely still stand by my statement of those games just bore me. I feel that as a franchise, just super stagnant. On the flip side, I really fancy playing Gears Tactics, but I don't know if I mentioned previously, I downloaded it through Game Pass, and when I went to play it, it told me that it wasn't available. I was like, here's an idea, don't put it on your system then. Don't have it available on your service if the game isn't available. Very strange. I finished that, deleted it immediately. That sounds worse because I deleted it so I had space to install Gears of War 5. Why, you ask? I don't know. I'm sure somewhere along the line somebody told me that Gears of 5 was well worth playing. But this is a statement from a man who's just said that these games bore him to tears, so I don't know. Last I checked it hadn't installed. It might have done by now. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that one. There's some part of me that feels like I just have to play those games, and there's some part of me that hates the other bit. So I don't know. Get back to me on that one. I played a little bit of Forza Motorsport 7. I've been unlocking cars, I've been doing races, you know, that's kind of what those games are about. Again, another game I don't really know what to say about it. I've still not been able to take off the assists. I think I just know that I'm not going to be able to do it. I know what those games are like. So for now, I'm happy just driving with the assists on. The one game I haven't played is Dishonored 2. Largely because I don't feel that I have the mental capacity to be able to play that game at the moment. I do want to get back to it. It's not like I've gone, I'm never playing that game again. I do want to get back to it. That is my intention. I just need some brain space to be able to do that. I know at the moment brain space is limited. That is basically that. I'm sorry for the people that tune in for the entertainment side of things. I honestly do feel like I've let you down this week. I watched a movie, but I haven't really played much game-wise. Unless you want to know about mobile games, I've been playing a fair amount of mobile games. But I don't feel that's for the best. I haven't played any VR. It's not been a week for VR. Yeah. So yeah, if you're tuning for the entertainment and you feel like you've been robbed, I'll try and pick up the pace for next week. I've got a couple of games that I fancy getting my hands on, my grubby mitts on. And there's a couple of other games, either new releases or on the horizon, that I'd also kind of fancy playing. But one of them I saw in Asda the other day. And then I've checked the price on Amazon. I'm pretty sure they were the same price. They wanted £52 for Watch Dogs Legions. Go figure. And I am not giving anybody £52 of my money for a computer game. So yeah. I can't do that one. No, that's not happening. So, I think at the moment I'm probably just going to be sticking with Game Pass. But that's another one that we'll have to make a decision on. There we go, peeps. Done for another week. There we go. Thank you very much, and I will speak to you next time. Bye. So there you go. What do you think to that? Another one done. Oof. I tell you, where do they go? Out into the ether, out into the world. YouTube watchers, if you're a subscriber, a big thank you to you. If you're a new subscriber, an even bigger thank you to you. And if you're about to click that subscribe button, big thanks. Everybody jump over to thecookiecast.com, check us out over there. There's various ways you can get in touch with us, so drop us a line. Let us know how you're getting on. Let us know how you're surviving through all of the stuff that's going on. And who knows, maybe we'll give you a shout and get you on the podcast. So that's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye.